Imagine trusting someone so deeply you miss the darkness festering within them. In the serene suburb of Chuluota, Florida, the Amato family poured their love into their youngest son, Grant. Each day unfolded with routine and warm family moments, yet unnoticed was the unraveling of Grant's mind. At just 29, he was shy and lost, often finding solace in a virtual world that promised connection and understanding. But it wasn't just a hobby for Grant, it was an escape. As he hunched over his glowing computer screen, the blue light illuminated his weary face, masking the real-life connections that faded away. The blurry figure of a woman flickered on his webcam, a presence he clung to, believing it offered him the affection he craved. As time passed, the grip of addiction tightened, pushing Grant further away from his family. Their concern went unnoticed as love twisted into despair. One tragic moment would expedite this heartbreaking spiral towards betrayal and sorrow. What secrets lurk behind the screen? The chilling story of love, addiction, and loss will haunt us all. In the stillness of his darkened bedroom, Grant Amato sat alone, enveloped in silence. The glow from his computer screen illuminated his weary face, a flicker of hope against a backdrop of loneliness. That's where he discovered her, Sylvia Vinces, a captivating Bulgarian webcam performer known as Sylvie. With her sultry voice and teasing glances, she brought a magnetic energy that seemed to spark from the very pixels of the screen, making the countless faces watching fade away. Each evening, Grant logged into her world, feeling as if he were slipping into a warm embrace. In the throng of anonymous viewers, he convinced himself that Sylvie noticed him, that he was more than just a name among so many. This connection offered him an escape from the chaos of his crumbling life. But as his obsession grew, a question loomed. Can a stranger on a screen truly become the center of your universe? Can this alluring fantasy consume everything? Grant found himself completely consumed by Sylvie's streaming sessions, surrendering hours and entire nights to the allure of her captivating presence. Each minute spent with her meant $10, a small price that felt huge amidst his growing obsession. As his infatuation deepened, he started purchasing $600 token bundles, draining his funds quicker than he realized. In a shocking twist, Grant's financial ruin stemmed from actions hidden deep under his desperate need for connection. Over 3 months, he siphoned a staggering $200,000 from his father, Chad, and brother Cody, all to shower Sylvie with lavish gifts, diamond necklaces that sparkled with every live stream, and designer lingerie she presented as a model of his affection. Now picture this scene. Grant's hands trembled as he unboxed these extravagant gifts, the glow of his laptop illuminating the anxious sweat on his face, the warmth of the suburban bedroom. Filled with family photos, starkly contrasted the darkness of his obsession. As the tension builds, it leaves us pondering, how much would he steal to keep her? To their neighbors in Chuluota, Florida, the Amatos were truly the embodiment of the American dream. Chad and Margaret, who had tied the knot in the mid-1980s, built a life most could only dream of, complete with a sprawling suburban home that boasted a breathtaking backyard stable. Their property was alive, filled with sleek racehorses galloping under the golden sun, a picture of pastoral bliss. Margaret shined as a sharp-witted operations manager at a prestigious clinic, while Chad made a significant career shift from pharmacist to skillful software developer. Together, their careers illustrated ambition and discipline, making them pillars of their community, admired by many. Their spacious home not only stood as a marker of success, but also a captivating dream in the evening glow of a sunset. The manicured yard showcased vibrant flowers, and the stable, with horses peacefully grazing, formed a serene backdrop. Yet, as shadows lengthened, a hint of something darker quietly emerged. What secrets hide in plain sight? They raised 3 sons, Jason, Margaret's child from a previous marriage, along with Cody and Grant, born just a year apart in 1988 and 1989. These brothers shared an inseparable bond, their days filled with laughter and adventure. You could find them chasing soccer balls across green, sunlit fields, each goal celebrated with shouts of joy. The weekends were special too, spent at the shooting range with their father, where they learned to respect and cherish their family traditions. In those moments, dreams of futures that would honor their parents' sacrifices danced in their minds. Memorable moments were etched in their hearts, like that summer evening during a family barbecue, where sweet smells filled the air and friendly competition unfolded on the soccer pitch. Their laughter was contagious, creating an atmosphere of pure bliss. But as life often does, challenges loomed ahead. What happens when trust, so vital to their brotherhood, is shaken? The question hangs in the air. What breaks a brother's trust? The journey ahead holds the answers. Yet Grant, the youngest of his family, was different. Frail and often sick as a child, he clung desperately to the warmth of his family, feeling a comforting cocoon around him. However, as time passed, he struggled to connect with others beyond that small bubble. His shyness grew into a quiet isolation, shrinking his world to the dim glow of his computer screen while his brothers soared in their lives. Cody, for example, thrived in his role as a nurse anesthetist, exuding confidence that seemed unshakable. Meanwhile, Grant's dreams began to dim, overshadowed by self-doubt and insecurities that cast a lingering shadow over his fragile heart. In the solitude of his bedroom, Grant sat alone, staring into the glow of the screen with a melancholic expression. His pale skin contrasted with his disheveled hair, and the rumpled bedsheets echoed his internal chaos. Dust collected on the shelves adorned with family photos, reminders of happier moments, as dim light filtered through the window, casting a melancholic ambiance over his suburban life. What drives a man to hide? This question lingers, inviting us to ponder the depths of Grant's isolation and the struggles we often face in seeking connection. In the summer of 2018, Grant found himself at a breaking point. As a dedicated nurse anesthetist at a bustling Florida hospital, the pressure weighed heavily on him, leading to alarming cracks in his once reliable demeanor. Each day brought more stress as he collaborated closely with Cody in life or death situations. In these intense moments, Grant's hands began to tremble and small errors started to accumulate. The concern from his colleagues was palpable, casting a shadow over their trust in him. This escalating tension within the high-stakes environment was hard to ignore, especially when precision was crucial. Then came a pivotal moment. In the shadows of the hospital, desperation took hold. As Grant moved through the sterile corridors, he slipped a vial of sedatives into his pocket, guilt twisting his gut. The harsh fluorescent lights cast shadows on his anxious face, intensifying the reality of his actions. This moment would spark a scandal that not only threatened his career but also his very identity. As whispers circulated and anxiety swirled around him, a critical question emerged. How far would shame push him into the depths of darkness that could destroy everything he once cherished? In a dimly lit police interrogation room, Grant sat at a metal table, his disheveled appearance reflecting his inner turmoil. The atmosphere was thick with tension, a palpable energy that hung in the air. He was caught stealing propofol, a powerful sedative tightly regulated due to its reputation for euphoric and hallucinogenic effects. This was no minor crime, it was serious business, adding to the gravity of the situation. With a trembling voice, Grant claimed he had given the sedatives to under-medicated patients, insisting that he meant well. Yet the officers observed him closely, their skepticism evident. His story seemed implausible, like a flimsy excuse in the face of serious accusations. As whispers of personal abuse and potential black market dealings swirled around him, it became clear that Grant's situation was more complex than it appeared. However, despite the speculation, no concrete evidence ever came to light, leaving everyone questioning the truth. The heavy shadows in the room wrapped around Grant as sweat dripped down his brow. The sound of handcuffs clinking softly against the metal table added to the unease, enhancing the gravity of this charged encounter. As the interrogation intensified, Grant's expression shifted, a flicker of something darker crossing his face. What lies does he tell next, and will the truth ever emerge from his tangled web of deception? Her name was Sylvie. On Cam Girls, she was a siren, radiating a vibrant energy that mesmerized Grant. With each sultry smile and every carefully chosen word, it felt as if she crafted her message just for him. He became completely enchanted, convinced that their digital connection was something deeper, a love unlike anything he had experienced before. In his eyes, Sylvie filled the empty spaces of his lonely existence, making him feel seen in a way he yearned for. As Grant sank deeper into this fantasy, reality began to blur. he often found himself questioning where this digital world ended and his own life began. Was it possible that this connection, sparked by a glowing screen, could rival the warmth of genuine human interaction? The allure of Sylvie's confidence and charm created a spell that captivated him, holding his attention hostage far longer than he anticipated. And so, he pondered, when does a lie feel like love? This haunting query lingered, leaving him in a state of contemplation about the nature of his feelings and the reality he surrounded himself with. Grant had become utterly captivated by Sylvie, her vibrant streams lighting up the screens of countless viewers. Every smile, every laugh echoed in his mind, pushing him deeper into obsession. As her popularity skyrocketed, he felt overshadowed, desperate to win her attention and affection. In an attempt to show his love, Grant started pouring thousands of dollars into her streams. He was blinded by the need for her validation, disregarding the troubling source of his funds, money stolen from his own family. One moment that stood out was when he sent her an extravagant $100,000 birthday gift, thinking that sheer wealth could bridge the emotional gap between them. The gifts kept escalating. Diamond earrings sparkled in her videos, while the delicate lingerie was meant to ensnare her heart. Each item carried the weight of his hidden feelings, feeding his dreams of a connection that felt unreachable. But as Grant's actions grew increasingly reckless, he couldn't escape the reality of his choices. The thrill was tinged with panic, raising a looming question: how much would he sacrifice for her? In the dimly lit living room, Grant's heart raced as he faced the harsh reality of his life. To Sylvie, he spun tales of a thriving business and a luxurious mansion, masking his unemployed reality in a room cluttered with empty bottles and unfulfilled dreams. The walls seemed to close in around him, amplifying the weight of his lies. But on this fateful day, his father Chad's patience had reached its breaking point. The air was thick with tension as Chad, a stern middle-aged figure, glared at his son, a mixture of anger and disappointment etched on his face. Clenching his fists, Chad declared, "Find a job or get out," his voice reverberating through the room like a thunderclap, sending shivers down Grant's spine. Grant felt the crushing weight of his father's ultimatum pressing down on him, a storm of emotions brewing within, as his dreams hung delicately in the balance. Behind them, his mother stood in the shadows, her concerned gaze betraying the worry etched across her features. As silence filled the room, a question loomed larger than any confrontation. Will he defy his family? In August 2018, Cody noticed something wasn't right with Grant. Life had become a cycle of screens for him, and it was time for a change. So he offered Grant a lifeline, a much-needed trip to Japan with their friend, Jeremy. This adventure was more than just a vacation. It was a chance for Grant to break free from his spiraling rut and reconnect with the world around him. As they arrived in the bustling streets of Tokyo, the vibrant energy was palpable. Cody and Jeremy were all smiles, diving into the atmosphere with excitement, while Grant lagged behind, lost in the glow of his phone. The neon lights and lively crowds surrounded him, yet he felt worlds apart from the joy unfolding around him. One moment caught everyone's breath. Standing before the majestic Mount Fuji, Grant remained detached, still glued to his screen. The beauty of the landscape contrasted sharply with his fixation, leaving us to wonder, can a change of scenery truly save a soul already lost to obsession? Can he escape his obsession? Cody and Jeremy had worked hard, scrimping and saving for their dream trip to Japan, but their friend Grant's expenses were a burden lifted by his parents, adding a touch of tension to their adventure. As the trio wandered through the vibrant, neon-lit streets of Tokyo, filled with excitement and wonder, Grant's absence became noticeable. Cody and Jeremy marveled at the vibrant city, capturing every moment while Grant chose solitude. In the dim light of the hotel room, Grant sat nervously at the desk with a laptop open before him. His guilty expression reflected the glow of the screen, where he was wiring stolen funds to Sylvie. Each keystroke reverberated in his mind, raising the stakes of his betrayal while his friends explored the magic of Tokyo just outside. With each click, the weight of his deceit grew heavier. The situation escalated as Grant realized the magnitude of his actions. Who would he betray next? The tension was thick, leaving unanswered questions lingering in the night. As Jeremy's credit card vanished, so did thousands from his account, traced back to Grant's late-night activities, igniting a brewing storm of mistrust within the family. Miles away in Florida, Chad and Margaret stumbled upon a staggering truth that left them reeling. Grant had pilfered a jaw-dropping $200,000 from their accounts. The initial disbelief morphed into sheer shock, a heavy cloud of betrayal hanging over them, each grappling with the weight of what this meant for their family. Back in the Amato living room, tensions reached a breaking point. Chad erupted with fury, his voice echoing against the walls as anger surged through him. Margaret, tears brimming in her eyes, desperately sought answers, asking how her own son could betray them in such a profound way. Grant, feeling cornered and resentful, stood silently, fully aware of the fracture forming in the very foundation of their family bond. With emotions at their peak, the atmosphere crackled with intensity. The pressing question lingered, heavy in the air. How far will his lies go? Cornered and desperate, Grant left the rehab clinic in a whirlwind of frustration, his unrepentant demeanor visible as he grabbed his backpack. The building loomed behind him, gray skies reflecting the sterile atmosphere he was escaping from. As he sped towards his aunt and uncle's home, the screeching of his tires echoed, crashing through their fence in a frantic escape. It was a chaotic moment, showcasing just how far he was willing to go, driven by a mix of anger and fear. Upon arrival, his aunt and uncle welcomed him with open arms, their smiles a stark contrast to the storm brewing inside him. They offered their shelter and love, believing they could help him heal. Unbeknownst to them, however, Grant was harboring deeper secrets, a betrayal that threatened to unravel this fragile reunion. As he settled into their home, a sense of unease lingered in the air. How much deception can a family endure before it breaks apart? What betrayal comes next? Stay tuned to find out. In December 2018, Grant found himself in a place he never wanted to be, reluctantly entering a treatment program. His head hung low. A mix of emotions swirled within him. He put on a brave face, trying to keep his heart strong and determined to resist the urge to surrender to the process. Little did he know, a storm was brewing at home. While Grant battled his inner demons, his concerned parents took matters into their own hands. They dug through his computer, a decision born out of worry. What they found shocked them to the core. Hundreds of videos and messages directed to someone named Sylvie. This discovery unveiled layers of Grant's hidden turmoil, leaving his parents with questions and fears they never anticipated. On January 5th, 2019, Grant, feeling fragile yet resolute, made a bold choice to leave rehab early. He returned home with promises that felt more like whispers as uncertainty loomed. His pledge to change echoed weakly, overshadowed by the trust that now teetered on the edge of collapse. As the camera captures the moment, a close-up reveals his mother handing over a laptop, her trusting smile masking the tension in the room. Grant's expression, however, betrays him, rage simmering just beneath the surface. What shocking discovery sparked such intense emotions in him? This cliffhanger leaves us questioning not just Grant's path, but what lies hidden within his story. On January 24th, 2019, the atmosphere was tense in the suburban home where Grant sought a moment of connection amidst his web of deceit. The air was thick with unspoken worries. Grant, with a soft, almost childlike voice, pleaded with his mother, Margaret, to use the laptop for a job search. His tone tugged at her heartstrings, creating a moment of weakness. Relenting, Margaret trusted her son one last time, completely unaware that this gesture of faith was leading her into a fatal mistake. As she stepped away, Grant's heart raced. As Grant logged onto the laptop, he stumbled upon a shocking discovery. His parents had contacted Sylvie. The truth about his unemployment, theft, and shattered reality crashed over him. In a chilling scene, a shadowy figure loomed behind Margaret, handgun in hand. Unaware, she remained seated at her desk, oblivious to the impending chaos that was about to unfold. With a haunting question, the screen fades. Who will fall next? He crept quietly behind Margaret as she sat engrossed at her desk, her fingers rhythmically tapping on the keyboard, blissfully unaware of the shadow looming over her. Suddenly, the tranquility shattered. A single shot rang out, striking the back of her head and ending her life in an instant. Her body slumped forward, lifeless, as blood pooled on the floor beneath her. the quiet office now transformed into a chilling crime scene. Meanwhile, Chad arrived home, a sense of normalcy lingering as he walked toward the kitchen. There, Grant was waiting, rage boiling beneath the surface. In a swift, brutal move, he unleashed 2 bullets into Chad's chest, dropping him to the ground in shock. Grant seized the opportunity, grabbing Chad's phone. With chilling precision, he crafted a frantic text to Cody, pretending there was a family emergency. The words were urgent, designed to lure his brother back home into the unfolding chaos. As Cody stood at the dimly lit staircase, shock painted across his face, he saw a gun aimed directly at him. Eyes wide with fear, the question lingered. Can he escape the horrors and save himself? With his family dead, Grant moved with an eerie calm, almost as if he was in a daze. He meticulously wiped the handgun clean, ensuring every trace was removed, before pressing it into Cody's lifeless hand to stage a murder-suicide. Grant gathered his belongings, each movement deliberate as he prepared to leave the chaos behind. Just moments later, police arrived at the Amato residence, greeted by a devastating scene. Margaret slumped over at her computer, lost in a final moment, while Chad lay lifeless in the kitchen. In a tragic tableau, Cody was curled at the base of the stairs, and suspicion quickly fell on Grant, who was nowhere to be found. His white Honda and laptop missing. Eventually, the scene shifted to a quiet, rundown motel where Grant was arrested. Police officers, faces set with determination, cuffed him outside his room. Flashing lights highlighted his remorseful expression against the dim glow of a neon sign. And wet pavement, creating a cinematic moment of despair. Will justice prevail? The police tracked Grant Amato to a roadside motel in Orange County. He was arrested without resistance, his face a mask of disappointment rather than genuine remorse, reflecting the weight of his choices. In July 2019, Grant faced trial in a Florida courtroom. The atmosphere was heavy with the tension of uncertainty. Family members and friends filled the seats, anxiously awaiting the verdict, fully aware of the devastating implications looming over them. On August 12, 2019, the jury delivered its verdict. Grant Amato, age 30, was convicted of 3 counts of first-degree murder. Sentenced to life without parole, he stood there with no tears in his eyes, only cold defiance as he expressed that others blamed him for ruining their lives. Grant's obsession transformed a digital fantasy into a real-world nightmare, erasing a family that had poured their love into trying to save him from his dark path. If this tale tugged at your heartstrings, don't forget to subscribe and share. Join us for more stories that uncover the darkness lurking beneath the surface.